We continue on this week's edition of Inside Eagle Nation. We dive into this weekend for Georgia Southern baseball. Again, no midweek for Georgia Southern baseball with exams on campus. But we dive into what Georgia Southern will see this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at J.I. Clements Stadium, as the Troy Trojans will make their way into town. And nobody better to talk about the Troy Trojans than Barry McKnight, the voice of the Trojans. Barry, appreciate you joining us.
Oh, absolutely. Looking forward to it, getting a chance to talk a little baseball here from the Troy campus where things have been good around here lately. It's been a good home schedule for Troy and a big challenge going on the road for 4 games this week for us. So, yeah, it's going to be a challenge, no question.
We talked about it last week with Coastal Carolina. The Chanticleers probably playing their best baseball of the season. Troy in that same ilk. A 3-game sweep against Georgia State this past weekend. What is it really about this Troy team that has been clicking?
Well, the thing that really has been evident, and I wish I had an answer why, is we've been really good at home. I think Troy now is 18-5 at home, and on the road, not bad, actually right at about 500, but just so much better at home, the home crowd and all of that. The first year under Skylar Meade has been, it's been interesting in that he has been really good at being open-minded about a lot of things. I loved the previous staff. It was a phenomenal group of people. Coach Meade has kind of set himself apart as a guy who will experiment. And it has really helped out lately. Rigsby Mosley, who you know and have seen play and have seen hit and all that. He's been an all-conference player. He was a freshman All-American player. Well, this is the first year that he has pitched in college. And he's been a revelation. He has been, over the last couple of weeks, a weekend starter. And it's been legitimate for a guy who had not pitched in 5 years. In the Georgia State series, Troy won the first game 10-1. It was a 1-run win in the second game. And then on Sunday, with the series, a chance at a sweep, there was a rain delay. Our starter had to leave. And at the very end of the game, with the game on the line, Troy was leading by 1. We threw a guy named Brandon Schreff, who has been an outfielder and a designated hitter, has played all 3 outfield spots. He had only thrown maybe 2 innings all season long. He only had 1 other appearance. And with the game on the line, Coach Meade brings Brandon Schreff out there and get a couple of runs, and he ends up getting the win, getting a strikeout to end it. So a lot of those things has been just him not being afraid to try new things. It's a very energetic approach. Troy runs, Troy hits and runs. Troy will, do a lot of different things on offense. They try a lot of different lineups, and it's been fun for sure. I guess the thing that's been the most interesting for us is just how unpredictable everything has been, and it's worked out by and large this year.
You talk about Rigsby Mosley, and everybody around the Sun Belt Conference knows what he has been able to do at the plate. He's been a huge part of this Troy success the last couple of years. But I remember the first time that he was going to get a start, it was in a midweek on the mound. Mm-hmm. And we're thinking, is this just a one-off? Is there somebody that can't go? But then it ends up he's now the Saturday guy for the Troy Trojans the last couple of weeks. What has it been like being around him, and I know he's somebody that you know pretty well, mm-hmm. being around Troy all of the time. What is it like when he takes the mound for this team?
Well, the thing that strikes me, and you're right, Colin, it was in a midweek game against Alabama in Tuscaloosa, and we saw him out there warming up, and we're thinking in the bullpen, and we're thinking, what's this all about? We had heard that it was a possibility, but he comes out there, and you really didn't know what to expect. He came out there, and from the beginning, he looked polished. He looked like he belonged. He is one of my favorites. He's an absolute joy to be around. Doubles Alley loves him out in left field. He is always outgoing. He's a great guy, but and I'm serious, he is one of the nicest human beings that I've been associated with in any sport in 20 years at Troy. But, Colin, you get him between the lines, and he wants to grind you in the dust. I mean, you know players like that. I've known players like that in all different sports. Nicest guy in the world, but on the mound, what really sets him apart, He's a left-hander who throws 90 miles an hour. He can get up to 93, so that's legitimate. Really good off-speed stuff. He has got a polished arsenal, but the thing that really has struck about him is the effect he has on the teammates around him, because he is so competitive. He doesn't shy away from the moment. He doesn't shy away from the challenge. And when the chips have been down, he's been even better, if that's possible.
Offensive side, you'll still see Mosley in that lineup for Troy, obviously. What's been the biggest part of him taking that next step while he's also focusing on pitching? What's been the biggest step for him offensively?
Well, the thing about him offensively over the last couple of weeks is that they've kind of taken him out of that equation some, in that he mentioned that, when he swings the bat, it kind of affects his arm, affects his shoulder a little bit. So they've been really careful with that. So in the last couple of weeks, he's only had a minimum number of at-bats. He didn't swing the bat at all, for instance, against Georgia State and Arkansas State, just strictly because they want to keep him, fresh on the mound. And it's made a bit of a difference, having a left-handed bat in there. But he's ready to go. He is definitely a pinch hitting prospect. He's definitely a DH prospect. And as you know, he's always been one of the best defensive outfielders in the Sun Belt Conference. So I'm like you. I'd be interested to see down the stretch, final month of the regular season, just how often you use him. It's such an anomaly because you look at all of the career numbers for Troy offensively. He is in the top 5 in career numbers and hits. He leads in all-time doubles. He leads the current team. He's stolen 12 bases, and he's been a full-time pitcher for the last 2 or 3 weeks. So I'm interested in that as well. Losing a guy like that, who's one of the top 5 all-time leaders in your school in hits, again, it's a bit of a risk, but we'll see how it all turns out.
Talk about the rest of this offense for Troy. You look at guys like Donovan Wibbs leading the team with a .319 average. What does the rest of this lineup look like now, having to transition with Mosley not in it?
Well, it's a predominantly left-handed lineup. Wibbs is a left-handed hitter. He has really taken a step forward. He's terrific defensively. He is leading the team in hitting, and he's spent more than 3 games anywhere other than in the bottom 3 of the order. William Sullivan, Easton Kirk, Kyle Mock, Trey Leonard, all of those guys up and down the lineup, they're all left-handed. It's a predominantly left-handed team. There is some balance. Jesse Hall, the shortstop, he and Sullivan and Wibbs have been so solid defensively. Hall leads the team in RBIs, believe it or not, which I never thought would happen. It's just been, there's not been many holes. There's nobody who is in the top 10 in the league or the top 5 in the league in any individual statistic, but everybody's pretty good. Everybody knows what they're doing. It's been a team full of clutch hitters. Nobody that I would consider to be a guy who will just absolutely consistently knock the cover off the ball, but just a bunch of good hitters with good approaches. And the way the lineup sets up now, it all kind of seems to fit the way it's constructed right now, with Hall and Sullivan in the 2 hole, and then another left-hander Mock, then another left-hander Kirk, and then maybe a right-hander before the left-hander Trey Leonard.
Looking on the pitching side of the equation, it's a rotation that has changed a little bit throughout the year, obviously with Rigsby Mosley coming into the weekend rotation the last couple of weeks, but somebody that has led the way, Garrett Gaines, actually left the game against Georgia State on Friday with an injury. Don't necessarily know his status right now of the weekend, but when you look at some of the different guys that have been a part of it, Bay Witcher is somebody that is now out of the weekend rotation as of right now, but guys like Fuller that have been there pretty much the entirety of the season. What does this pitching staff really hang its hat on?
Well, it hangs its hats on the ability to throw strikes. They're averaging, last time I checked last week, over 10 strikeouts a game. And Coach Meade was talking with us about that after the Georgia State game. I think Troy pitchers struck out 38 Georgia State hitters. Now, they're prone to the strikeout, but he says that he believes that, the strikeout can be taught. And they accentuate that, not pitching to contact necessarily, but trying to make them miss bats. You can't defend a strikeout. And they've been really good about that. Gaines is a strikeout guy, a power guy. And I'm with you. As we record this, nobody knows his status. He has an MRI scheduled as we're talking right now. But He is a guy with a lot of swing and miss. He's got a rising fastball that's awfully tough to meet up with, and he's been very good at home. Brady Fuller is a power guy, but a little bit different in that, he pitches to contact a little bit more. He doesn't have that swing and miss necessarily as much as Gaines does. And Rigsby is a guy who, again, throws 92, 93 with a really good changeup and really good command and competitiveness as well. Witcher is a guy, he's a pitch to contact guy. He's not going to strike out a lot, and he's a swing guy that can go on a midweek. Obviously he's gone a lot on the weekend as well. But the thing that this staff is known for as much as anything else, pound the strike zone. They're not going to nibble around. They're not going to try and get people to chase. They're going to come right at you. And it's a team, even through the bullpen, that is full of strike throwers. They don't walk many at all. And they do have a lot of swing and miss in this staff's game.
We've talked about Rigsby Mosley a lot, and outside of him, what has kind of been the biggest surprise for this team this year?
There's a lot of them. There's a lot of things. Jesse Hall has been wonderful at the plate. He's always been a plus defender. You remember him last year. He was the third baseman with Drew Frederick at shortstop, and he plugs in at shortstop, and he's terrific defensively. But you didn't know, how much he would hit. It'd be okay, but he's batting 300, leads the team in RBIs, a terrific clutch hitter. That's been a positive surprise. Wibbs is another one. You mentioned him. Wibbs is a guy who came in not very strong, kind of a skinny guy. Well, I think now he had 2 triples over the weekend. He is either at least tied for the league lead in triples. He really runs well. And a guy that I think you'll watch out for, that I think you'll appreciate this weekend, is the Louisville transfer, Trey Leonard. Leonard is in his only year at Troy. He's a grad student now, and he's played all different outfield positions. He's a guy who can really run, left-handed batter with occasional power, but he is one of those glue guys. He's got a terrific presence in the clubhouse. He knows what it takes to win. He's played in a College World Series before with the Cardinals. So he brings not just a kind of a tool belt with him of speed, defense, versatility, and power, but he's a real leadership guy as well. Somebody that I didn't know before the season started just how much he would impact this program, but he's impacted it a lot in a lot of different ways.
I want to talk about a couple of traditions to kind of shed the light on this Troy program a little bit more. You talk about Doubles Alley a little bit earlier. You guys do a game or a couple throughout the year out in Doubles Alley on the radio. Talk about Doubles Alley, kind of the origins of it and how it kind of became a huge part of Troy.
Well, to be honest with you, years ago, there was a fan group out there. They called themselves Barry's Boys, and they morphed into Doubles Alley. There's just a lot of people who love the Trojans, Gunnar Whetstone and Becky Whetstone, and my wife, Dee. She's in the middle of all of it, and Seth Parker. I can't know all the names, but they're out there. And, they'll grill and they'll maybe give the opposing left fielder a hard time, but they'll also give them their props. By the end of the series last year, you'll remember, they were all saluting Mac McWhorter left and right. They said, okay, you shut us up, that's for sure. But they appreciate good baseball. They love the Trojans. And the thing that's fun about them is that they're there no matter what. They never miss a game. They never take a game off. We had a rain delay in the Sunday game against Georgia State this past weekend, and they never budged out there. And they keep the game, our game broadcast, our radio broadcast going out there. And every once in a while, they'll maybe feed the opposing left fielder a chicken wing through the chain link or something like that. It's just a lot of fun. And the coaches and the fans and the players just absolutely love it.
The other one that we have made known over our broadcast whenever we're at Troy is the fact that during the 7th inning stretch, you are the one that sings "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." Where did that really start?
It began my first year, 20 years ago, and this is a true story. It was maybe the second or third home game. And in the booth, everybody, all the game ops people, here comes the 7th inning, and they're playing just the song, and they're looking at each other the second game and saying, "Do you want to sing it?" "Well, I'm not going to sing it." "You sing." "I'm not going to sing it." And after about the third game, I said, "That's enough. I mean, I know the words," and I said, "I'll sing it." So 7th inning break, we take the break. I go run, get the microphone, the headphones, and they play it behind me. And, you jazz it up a little bit. You try to make it entertaining and all that. And it was supposed to be just a one-off for me. I just wanted to show them, hey, somebody can do this thing. It's not that hard. Well, our chancellor, who's right behind me, right up here, Dr. Jack Hawkins, happened to be in the stands for that game. And he came over afterwards and said, Barry, that added a lot of pizzazz. So I've had to do it for every home game since for the last 20 years, and they love it. It's, it's funny. A lot of people give me a hard time about it because I'm not the most extroverted personality out there, but people remember me for that. I'm fine with it. That's for sure.
Barry, appreciate you taking some time. Looking forward to getting to catch up this weekend when you guys come to Statesboro.
Man, I cannot begin to tell you just how much high-level baseball we're expecting. Troy's playing at a really good pace right now. Good gosh, Georgia Southern is playing as good a baseball as anybody, despite last weekend. I still think it's going to be high-quality baseball, and I can't wait to call it, Colin.
For sure. Thank you, Barry.
Take care.